Because you lack discipline. If you want a life that few ever touch, you must do what most never will. Every excuse delays the dream. Every comfort steals your momentum. Time is running out. You can either discipline yourself now or regret it later. The ones who win, they choose sacrifice today so they can stand in greatness tomorrow. What about you? In few moments, you will learn why big dreams demand big sacrifices and how to discipline yourself when motivation disappears and pressure rises. Your dream is not a fantasy, it is a responsibility. You may think your dream is some distant ideal, but what if I told you it's your assignment, something entrusted to you and no one else? That vision you keep seeing? It's not just a wish, it's a whisper from destiny. You've seen glimpses of it in quiet moments, in deep desires, in wild daydreams. But you keep hesitating. Why? Because the road demands more than wishes. It demands work. Big dreams are expensive. They cost time, comfort, excuses, and ego. But if you're willing to pay the price, they'll reward you with purpose, power, and peace. You get there by showing up when no one's clapping, by choosing clarity over chaos. Start by honoring your dream. Speak it aloud, write it down, prioritize it like your life depends on it, because in a way it does. In Genesis 37, Joseph saw a dream, but that dream led him to pits, prison, and betrayal before the palace, yet he didn't quit. So I ask you, are you treating your dream like a promise or like a maybe? What's stopping you from owning the responsibility that comes with vision? Success demands sacrifice before it rewards you. Everyone wants the crown, but who is truly willing to carry the cross? We marvel at success. We applaud the champions, admire the entrepreneurs, and envy the influencers. But what we rarely see is the pain before the platform, the tears behind the triumph, the invisible sacrifices that built the very stage others now stand on. Success is not an elevator ride to the top. It is a staircase soaked in sweat, tears, and time. And every step upward demands a piece of who you used to be. You want the result? Then you must respect the requirement. And the requirement is simple, but never easy. Sacrifice, discipline. Doesn't feel good in the moment. Waking early, turning down temptation, saying no to instant gratification, none of it is glamorous. But success does not come to those who do what feels good. It bows to those who do what is essential. The person who achieves the dream is not the one who merely wishes for it, but the one who is willing to pay for it. Every dream has a price. What you refuse to give up may be the very thing keeping you from going up. Abraham promised generations, but asked to sacrifice his only son. Why? Because vision must be tested. Greatness cannot be handed to the unprepared. The question was never about Isaac. The question was about Abraham's heart. Would he trust the giver more than the gift? And that's still the question success asks you today. Will you trust the process more than the comfort? Will you sacrifice what you want now for what you want most? You weren't made to drift. You were made to decide. To draw the line, to rise each day with clarity, not confusion, purpose, not passivity. Success doesn't visit those who dabble, it honors those who dedicate. So the next time you whisper, "Why is it taking so long?" pause and ask yourself this instead. What haven't I let go of yet? What habit, what relationship, what excuse am I still holding on to that is keeping me from rising? Because dreams do not respond to interest, they respond to investment. They require your time, your energy, your belief, your consistency. You must stop asking success to meet you halfway when you haven't even stepped out the door. Success won't reward you because you want it. It rewards you because you became worthy of it. You say you want the crown, but are you willing to carry the cross? So today, choose the essential over the easy. Delay the dopamine, shut down the distractions. Trade convenience for conviction. And ask yourself, what's one thing I'm still clinging to that's costing me my calling? Then lay it down. Because the moment you give up what no longer serves you is the moment success starts to notice you. Sacrifice is not punishment, it is preparation. And once you're prepared, success has no choice but to come find you. The discipline of saying no is the gateway to saying yes to greatness. Every time you say yes to something meaningless, you are saying no to something meaningful. Let that truth settle into your spirit. because your future is not only being shaped by what you accept, it is being shaped by what you reject. The power of your destiny lies not just in action, but in refusal. You see, discipline is often misunderstood. It is not self-punishment. It is self-prioritization. It is the sacred art of protecting your purpose. Each no is a brick in the fortress of your future. And unless you master the courage to say no to what doesn't align, you will never have the capacity to say yes to what does. Greatness is not random. It is reserved for those who choose it daily. You can't construct a powerful life with weak boundaries. You can't reach the mountain while entertaining every valley that waves at you. The truth? Ordinary habits can never lead to extraordinary outcomes. You must decide, will you keep pleasing everyone else, or will you start honoring the call within you? Even Jesus, the ultimate embodiment of purpose, withdrew into the wilderness. Not to escape, not to impress, but to align. 40 days without food, without applause, without noise, so he could step fully into his assignment. Because clarity often follows consecration. In other words, you may not need to add more right now. You may need to subtract. Remove the distractions. Strip away the unnecessary. Silence the noise so the voice of destiny can finally be heard. If you feel confused, overwhelmed, or tired, it might not be because you're doing too little. It might be because you're saying yes too often. Yes to demands that drain you. Yes to people who pull you off course. Yes to patterns that pretend to be opportunities. But not all opportunity is obedience. Not all movement is momentum. Some roads look right but lead to ruin. Your energy is not unlimited. Every yes costs you something. The only question is, what are you trading in return? Ask yourself honestly, what have I been saying yes to that is stealing my focus? What do I keep tolerating that contradicts the future I say I want? Because you can't feed your dream while you're feeding every distraction. You can't build your masterpiece while painting everyone else's. Sometimes the boldest move is not to leap forward, but to let go. To say no firmly and unapologetically to the invites, the temptations, the pressure to prove. Saying no is not rejection, it is redirection. Every time you say no to what is beneath you, you make room for what is beyond you. So will you dare? Will you dare to shrink your circle, simplify your schedule, sharpen your focus? Will you dare to disappoint the world in order to obey your destiny? Because the reward for saying no is not just peace, it's purpose. It's access to the yes that matters most. Don't wait until your dream is starving to start feeding it with your focus. Protect your vision before it needs to be resurrected. Refuse distraction before it becomes destruction. You weren't made to be everything for everyone. You were made to be exactly what your purpose requires. So the next time you're asked, remember this. Every no today is preparing you for a greater yes tomorrow. And that yes, that divine, purposeful, soul-aligned yes will be worth every boundary you built to protect it. Delay gratification, don't deny the dream. There is a powerful distinction between denial and delay. One kills the dream, the other cultivates it. And it is here, in this sacred waiting room called discipline, that destiny is quietly shaped. Most people confuse silence with absence. But a seed buried in the ground does not shout while it grows. It simply breaks itself open beneath the surface. Likewise, your dream may not yet be visible, but that doesn't mean it's void. It means it's maturing, hidden, protected, developing strength in secret. The future does not belong to the impulsive, it belongs to the patient. The world crowns those who dare to wait with wisdom and work while others demand quick reward. Immediate gratification is the diet of the mediocre, but greatness is built on slow-cooked purpose and the quiet grind of consistency. You must learn to say no to what you want now for the sake of what you want most. Faith is not merely believing when things are evident. Real faith is believing before the evidence arrives. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. That means your daily discipline, your hidden hustle, your private perseverance. That is the evidence. Every time you wake up and try again without applause, you are voting for your dream. The question then is not, can I see results, but rather, can I stay committed when I can't? Because true transformation occurs when nothing seems to be changing, but you refuse to stop And suddenly one day the fruit appears, not because it arrived overnight, but because you refused to give up during the drought. We live in a world of shortcuts and instant gratification. But while others microwave their moments, you must be willing to marinate your mission. Delay the comfort now, and you build the capacity for what's coming later. That uncomfortable space between sowing and reaping, that's where your character is forged. That's where warriors are born. The pain of discipline is temporary. The pain of regret lasts a lifetime. So choose your pain wisely. The price of waiting with purpose is far less than the cost of rushing with regret. Be the person who plants when the soil is dry, who waters when the sky holds no rain, who prays when the answer is still pending. That's faith. That's strength. Every day you delay the trivial, you invest in the eternal. Every time you say not yet to distraction, you say yes to destiny. You don't deny your dream when you delay your gratification. You demonstrate your belief in it. You prove to heaven and to yourself that the vision is worth the wait. So I ask you now, are you patient enough to keep going when the applause is silent? Are you focused enough to train when no one is watching? Are you faithful enough to build when no one believes? Because your future is not dead, it is developing, quietly, deeply, powerfully, and those who endure long enough to see it emerge will be the ones who one day look back and say, I'm glad I waited, I'm glad I didn't quit, I'm glad I delayed gratification, because what I was waiting for was always worth it. You can't have growth without grief. Every ascension demands a sacrifice. Every next level demands a letting go. You cannot stretch upward while clinging downward. Something, someone must be laid to rest for something greater to rise. This is not just poetic musing, it is practical reality. You cannot carry old habits into new heights. You cannot house an expanded destiny in the small rooms of old mindsets. Growth demands grief. You must be willing to mourn the parts of yourself you once celebrated. Old comforts, old conversations, old surroundings. They once served you, they once sheltered you, but now they suffocate you, and while you may feel the ache of their loss, understand their expiration date was a sign of your evolution. When Jesus raised Lazarus from the dead, the miracle did not begin with the command to come forth. It began with a much simpler act. The stone had to be rolled away. The barrier had to be removed. And so it is with you. You cry out for resurrection in your life, for new opportunities, new power, new seasons. But what stones are you refusing to move? What familiar pain are you still cradling as if it is part of you? Discipline is not cruelty. Discipline is pruning. And pruning is painful because it requires a knife to cut away what no longer belongs. Every branch that bears fruit, he prunes it so that it may bear more fruit. Without pruning, you do not grow strong. You grow wild. You do not become wise. You become weary. You do not become fruitful. You become frantic. You see, grief is the bridge to growth. It is the evidence that you are letting go of what no longer fits. Every tear you shed for the old is watering the soil for the new. But you must be brave enough to let the old version of yourself die, even if you loved it, even if you depended on it, so that your new self can breathe. So the real question is not, why is this so hard? The real question is, what is this hardship making room for? What is being carved out of your life so that something greater may find its place? You must be willing to trust the hands that prune you, to believe that every cut is a cut of compassion, not cruelty. That every loss is leading to a larger life, that every goodbye is preparing you for a greater hello. There is no growth without grief. There is no crown without a cross, no promotion without a pruning, no resurrection without first rolling away the stone. So today I urge you, stop clinging to the corpse of your former self. Stop guarding the grave of what used to be. Be brave enough to mourn what you must leave behind, but do not stay there. Mourn it, then move. Your destiny is calling, and it needs room to breathe. Make the space, move the stones, trust the pruning, and let the new life rise within you, because the only thing more painful than letting go is missing what you were born to become. Discipline is not restriction, it is refinement. You've been taught that discipline is a punishment a limitation, a harsh master that demands submission and strips away freedom. But what if you've misunderstood it all along? What if discipline is not the enemy of your dream, but the engine, not a prison, but a pathway? Discipline is not about chaining your soul, it's about channeling your strength. It's not the removal of joy, but the refinement of focus. It is clarity in a world that thrives on chaos. It is structure in a culture that celebrates spontaneity. And without it, your potential leaks out in 1,000 directions, never building momentum, never breaking through. Imagine a river. Without banks, it spills into a flood, destructive, directionless. But with borders, it flows with power. It cuts through rock. It generates energy. Your life is no different. Discipline is the boundary that gives your purpose flow, force, and focus. It doesn't hold you back. It holds you together. We live in a world where boundaries are mistaken for barriers, where saying no is considered negative. But understand this, every no to distraction is a yes to destiny. Every line you draw is not a limit, but a lifeline. Without boundaries, your gift becomes diluted. Without structure, your calling lacks shape. A person without self-recreation is like a city with broken down walls, vulnerable, exposed, powerless. Without discipline, your talents become targets, your time becomes stolen, your mind becomes cluttered. But when you build the walls of self-mastery, you protect your peace, your power, and your purpose. You may say, "But I want freedom." Let me tell you the truth. Real freedom is not the absence of discipline. It is the result of discipline. The freedom to choose, to grow, to rise. That comes only when you have trained yourself to resist what pulls you away from your purpose. Do not confuse chaos with creativity. Do not mistake rebellion for freedom. There is no brilliance in burnout. There is no excellence in excess. The artists, athletes, and leaders you admire, their greatness was not born in an explosion of emotion. It was built in the quiet hours of repetition, in the unglamorous discipline of doing what needed to be done again and again. Discipline is refinement, the fire that removes impurities, the chisel that shapes marble into masterpiece, the silence that sharpens signal from noise. You want to shine, but are you willing to be shaped? Are you willing to show up when it's boring, when it's hard, when it's thankless? That's where greatness begins, not in the crowd's roar, but in the quiet decision to rise early, to say no to the unnecessary, to focus on the mission, to repeat what works until it becomes who you are. So the next time you feel resistance to discipline, pause, reframe it. Don't see it as chains. See it as the rails your dream rides on. See it as the scaffolding that builds your future. See it as the strength you've been secretly craving. Because the truth is, your dream doesn't need more hype. It needs more habits. And the difference between potential and power is discipline. So build the walls, set the structure, embrace the rails, and let discipline refine you until you shine. Stop waiting for motivation. Start moving with commitment. You keep saying you'll begin when the moment feels right. When inspiration strikes, when motivation finally shows up with fireworks and fanfare. But let's be honest, how long have you been waiting? Days, months, years? And in all that time, has anything really changed? Motivation is a fair weather friend. It shows up on good days, disappears on hard ones. It cannot be trusted to build your future. But commitment is different. Commitment doesn't ask how you feel. It doesn't need a mood swing to move. It wakes you up when comfort begs you to sleep in. It gets you dressed when doubt tells you to hide. It keeps you building when applause is silent and progress is slow. Commitment is the engine. Motivation is the wind. You keep asking for the fire to arrive before you gather the wood. But what if it's the other way around? What if the fire comes because you started stacking? The wood pile comes first. The preparation creates the conditions for the flame. Champions don't rise because they're inspired every morning. They rise because they've made a decision to move forward no matter what their feelings say. They don't consult their emotions to check if today is a good day to grow. They move and let the emotions catch up. Some of you are waiting for clarity, waiting for signs, waiting for someone to pave the way. But what if the path won't open until you do? What if it's your first step that unlocks the door? The Red Sea didn't part until the people walked. So why are you standing still, praying for a path when heaven is waiting on your movement? We often call our hesitation caution or even wisdom, but sometimes hesitation is just fear wearing a suit. Fear that sounds mature, sounds responsible, but at its core, it's just delay dressed in disguise. It's the voice that says, wait until it feels right, when the truth is, it never will. Commit to what you said you wanted, not just when it's exciting, not just when others are watching, but when it's lonely, when it's repetitive, when the results are invisible, because that is the birthplace of real strength. When desire fades, decision must take over. The ones who rise aren't always the most talented. They are the most committed. The ones who kept showing up, who kept pushing through fog and fatigue, who kept believing when everything else said stop, because as long as you delay, you remain stuck. The wilderness isn't your home. It's a holding place, but you have to move. You have to commit. You have to say, even if I don't feel it, I will do it. And when you do, something shifts. The ground starts responding. The wind changes direction. And your life, slowly, powerfully, begins to align. So stop waiting. Start moving. Let commitment, not motivation, carry you forward. Because your future isn't built on feelings. It's built on follow-through. Discipline is the bridge between calling and completion. You felt it, that spark deep inside. That unshakable whisper that told you you were meant for more. It wasn't random. It wasn't imaginary. It was a calling, a divine pull on your life, a vision that saw beyond your current state and spoke to your true potential. But calling is only the beginning. It is the invitation, not the arrival. Many are called, but few complete the course, not because they lacked vision, but because they lacked discipline. Between the mountain of desire and the summit of destiny lies a long, narrow bridge. That bridge is called discipline. It is built not with bricks of emotion, but with the daily, deliberate choices that defy feelings and obey purpose. You will not arrive because you shouted the loudest. You will arrive because you stepped over and over and over again. Discipline doesn't ask if you feel inspired. It doesn't care about applause. It honors motion, quiet, unglamorous motion, the kind of movement that compounds, the kind of repetition that rewires, the kind of faithfulness that rewrites identity. You may not feel anointed every day. You may not feel chosen or capable, but discipline turns ordinary moments into holy momentum. It converts dull Mondays into divine progress, and slowly, without asking for permission, you cross that bridge. Not in a sprint, not in a parade, but in a steady walk of grit. You don't need more confirmations. You need more commitment. You don't need another goal. You need to remember why you set the last one. You don't need a new sign. You need to be the sign, a living testimony of what happens when someone refuses to quit. Too many start over, again and again, chasing the next big thing, jumping from spark to spark. But the spark is not the fire. The spark is the start, and only discipline keeps it burning. It's time to stop starting over. It's time to start finishing. The world is filled with dreamers, but it aches for finishers. Those who carry the assignment all the way through. Those who do the last lap, not just the first. Those who keep walking when no one claps, no one sees, and nothing moves. Let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us. That's not a sprint. That's endurance. That's showing up when motivation has left. That's digging deep into the well of commitment when everything else has dried up. So ask yourself, what bridge are you standing on right now? What dream, what promise, what vision has been calling you to finish it, and what's stopping you from walking it out? Maybe it's fear, maybe it's fatigue, maybe it's the false belief that you need another sign, another green light, another emotional boost. But I'll tell you the truth, you don't need more hype, you need more habits. Lean in, put your full weight on that bridge. Let your feet feel the strain of movement. Let your soul anchor to the rhythm of discipline. Because calling without discipline is noise, but calling with discipline, that's legacy. So walk one step today. another tomorrow. No fanfare, just finish. The future is not reserved for the gifted, it's reserved for the faithful. Distraction is the enemy of destiny. It doesn't begin as a tragedy, it begins as a tiny detour. A quick glance at the news, a harmless conversation that lingers too long. But over time, the minor becomes major. The glance becomes hours, the detour becomes delay, and before you realize it, distraction has stolen something sacred, your momentum. Distraction is not passive, it is a thief, a cunning one. It doesn't always come with noise. Sometimes it comes disguised as rest. Sometimes it wears the mask of productivity. But every moment you invest in what doesn't matter is a withdrawal from what does. Every second spent chasing the trivial is a seed that never reaches soil. You cannot be powerful and distracted at the same time. One cancels the other. Greatness demands focus. Purpose demands pruning. If you truly want to build something eternal, you must be ruthless about what you allow into your life. Not everything deserves your attention. Not everyone deserves your energy. You say your schedule is full, but is it full of what matters, or is it filled with noise, clutter, and convenience? Maybe the issue isn't time management. Maybe it's priority misplacement. Your calendar isn't crowded because of your call, it's crowded because of compromise. You must learn to audit your attention. Track where your time goes, because that's where your life is going. What do you reach for in the silence? What captures your mind when no one is watching? Those small, unconscious decisions are building a reality. But is it the one you want? You want to be excellent. You want to rise. But you cannot rise while being pulled in 10 directions. You cannot carry a vision if your hands are full of distractions. The dream requires devotion, not occasional effort, but focused, intentional effort. What if your destiny is not waiting on another opportunity, but simply on your attention? What if the miracle you've been praying for is already within reach, but hidden beneath layers of distraction? This is not a call to eliminate rest. Rest is holy. This is a call to eliminate waste, the kind that drains your soul and blurs your path. Entertainment has a place, but when escape becomes a pattern, it becomes a prison. So ask yourself, who or what has become a daily detour from your destiny? What habit, what platform, what relationship is quietly unraveling your discipline? You can no longer afford to be casual. Your calling is too critical. Your purpose is too precious. The price of distraction is not just lost time, it's lost identity. You begin to forget what you were born to do, who you were born to become. But here's the good news. You can reclaim it. Starting today, audit your focus, clear the clutter, eliminate the non-essential, and give your dream the same attention you give your distractions. Because when you do, your life will change. Not someday, today. Your destiny isn't waiting on your talent, it's waiting on your attention. So focus, eliminate, commit, and watch what happens when nothing stands between you and what you were created to do. Pain is a prerequisite to power. You keep trying to escape it, to numb it, to outpace it. Pain. It creeps in when you least expect it, lingers longer than it should, and reshapes everything it touches. And yet, pain is not your enemy. It is your educator. It is the instructor that life assigns when growth becomes urgent and comfort can no longer carry you. Pain teaches what comfort never could. It strips away illusions. It silences the noise. It introduces you to yourself. When you're in pain, the masks fall. The distractions fade. All that's left is truth. And truth, though sharp, is the beginning of power. Every broken moment, every tear, every sleepless night, they are not wasted. They are preparation, training, refinement. You are not being punished. You are being prepared. The fire you're in is not meant to destroy you. It's meant to forge you. There's power in pain when it's used with purpose. Pain becomes the platform on which leaders rise. Your scars are not shameful. They are sacred. They are signs that you have faced the fire and lived to tell about it, and what you've survived, you are now qualified to guide others through. But pain alone is not transformation. Pain without reflection is just suffering. You must choose what to do with it. Will you let it break you or build you? Will you let it define your life by what happened, or refine your life into something new? What if the thing you've been avoiding is the very fire meant to reveal your strength? What if your next level isn't on the other side of comfort, but hidden inside your current hardship? Growth doesn't happen when everything feels good. It happens when everything hurts and you choose to keep going anyway. Stop praying the pain away. Start asking, what is this pain preparing me for? What new strength is being shaped? What old weakness is being burned away? What part of your character is being carved into something deeper, richer, unshakable? You see, power doesn't come from titles, it comes from trials, from the moments you were tempted to quit but didn't, from the days you felt abandoned but still showed up, from the seasons you were crushed but still kept climbing. So don't waste this moment. Don't despise this season. Don't run from the fire. Stand in it. Learn from it. Let it teach you, temper you, transform you, because pain, when partnered with purpose, becomes the most powerful force in the world, and you are being prepared